I know it's crazy early. It's crazy early for your boy to be on doing the live, but somebody hit me up on social media and I thought this would actually be interesting. Today on the 22nd, the Thornton Township has a trustees board meeting that they're going to cover today. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the agenda. We're going to play a game of tell me how you would vote on these agenda items. I'm gonna go through those. It's 12 items, maybe 10. Some of them are I'm probably skip, but how you would probably vote on these agenda items. We're gonna talk a little bit about each one, and we're gonna talk about which agenda item is gonna cause the drama or the shit show to start. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm Marcus, the debt-free dad, a licensed attorney, where we do attorney reactions on this channel. As always, if you get some value out of the content, I invite you to subscribe, share, like, comment, hit the dislike button, say something crazy, whatever it is, what it is. As always, infotainment purposes isn't legal or financial advice, just me giving my opinion and takes on topics. Let's go ahead, take a look at the agenda, and talk about these topics before this meeting gets started. All right, so right there, let's actually put it that way so we can see everything on the screen. We want to see everything on the screen. Hold, let me close some stuff out. I got some other stuff going on over here. I'm gonna move this over there. All right, cool. So we got the agenda up. Thornton Township agenda, Township Board of Trustees, meeting held in the Township Boardroom, October 22nd, 2024. That is today. Now, we're going to talk about these agenda items. We're going to skip the roll call, the Pledge of Allegiance, the report, approval of minutes, old business, budget and appropriation ordinance for the Thornton Township General Assistance Fund. Probably going to be some drama. Adopt the budget and appropriation orders for Thornton Township. Okay, so yeah, that's probably going to get interesting. Approval of bills, general fund, general assistant fund, road and bridge funds. They've been stalling out on the money for a while. People trying to control spending. Things are getting proposed but not approved. So that's always up there. Let's focus on the new business, okay? Motion for Thornton Township to adopt rule of Robert's Rule of Order. Now I know y'all probably looking and thinking, what the hell is Robert's Rule of Order? Who is this Robert guy? But I actually took a look and looked it up. Robert's Rule of Order is essentially a book that outlines procedural processes for local municipalities or governments or even organizations to follow. This says a few interesting things. All right. First of all, to me, this says that if the board is trying to adopt a pre-written book, Robert's Rules of Orders, that's the first agenda item on a new business. That kind of supports what I've always known along is the procedural processes and rules that are in place are kind of loosey goosey. Like, they got some things, but it's not very detailed. They may be forgetting some steps in the process. So how are they going to vote on this? I think it'll probably pass because I think everyone at the Thornton Township Board of Trustees are aware that they need new processes. And hey, if you can't invent them from scratch or having a tough time inventing them, you might as well steal them from somewhere else and adopt these rules. So I think the first one is going to pass. The next two, three, should all pass. Number one, approval of the health insurance plan, dental insurance plan, life insurance plan presented by a third party company. New item number three is approval of the new structure for employee deductions for insurance premiums in 2024 through 2025 plan. And item agenda number four, approval of employee assistance program by a third party. I mean, who would not vote for that? I mean, like, I don't know, unless those plans have some crazy fiscal carrot hanging over the top that's going to cause the taxpayers a shitload of money and is going to be burdensome. Outside of that, there's absolutely no reason why those shouldn't get approved. And I mean, let's just think about it. We got election cycles coming up with this big infighting going on between the supervising trustee and between the actual board of trustees. If you do something that's not for the people that seems patently obvious, like approval of the insurance plan, you're probably going to get screwed. So it's going to be an opportunity for the other side to throw stones. So, hey, I think the Robert Rules of Order is going to get approved. I think action items 2, 3, and 4 related to the health plan, employees the deduction related to the insurance plan, and the employee assistance program are all going to be approved. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I think item number 5 is where the shit show is probably going to start to begin. I think that's when a little drama is going to occur. We can see on the screen item number 5, approval of the supervisor's 100% tax refund for all homeowners of Thornton Township. Like, that's actually kind of crazy. Okay. Now, I haven't looked at what this proposal is, and I'll probably recap it a little bit later on because I'm not sitting through the 2 hours of this shit. But I'll probably pull out a particular portion of the video and talk about this. But what I will say is, I'm interested in how detailed this plan is. I'm just going to be honest. The fact that action item number 5, approval of the supervisor's 100% tax refund for all homeowners of Thornton Township, is being proposed by Tiffany Henyard, I don't think it was much detail and thought put into this at all. I think that this is the proposal. I want everybody to get a tax refund if you're a homeowner. Everybody in Thornton Township, I think, is done strategically to curry favor. I think it's something that probably should be voted down immediately. This is one of those things where people will hear it and think that, yo, this is great. I get 100% tax refund for all homeowners of Thornton Township. Like, I don't know. It is weird how this is written. Approval of supervisor's 100% tax refund for all homeowners of Thornton Township. I'm assuming that this is talking about taxes related to a person's individual home because they have no power over state or federal taxes. That's point number 1. I'm just assuming that. Point number 2 is I'm assuming that this is the 100% of the bill. She's just using it as a method to gain favor amongst the public and potential voters. And think about it. If she proposes this to the township, this is also being proposed to impact the persons at the village of Dalton as well, because the village falls within the township. So I think it's a little bit of gamesmanship on her part. Realistically, I think this is absolutely ridiculous. I did a video on what is a township. I mean, it breaks it down from the acreage to how it's defined and all of this ridiculousness, all the nuanced details that make up a township. Because it's pretty much, a township is just another word for a county that has multiple cities within the county. But the big thing and the big takeaway, the number one way that most townships, damn near all townships, raise revenue is through property taxes. That's like the number one way that the township raise revenue, is through property taxes. And they use those property taxes to pay for infrastructure within the township. Like, you aren't paying out of pocket for the road that goes from your house to your place of employment. No, that would be absolutely ridiculous. So I think that this should not get passed. What's going to happen? I don't think that this is going to get passed because it absolutely makes no sense. All right. But I do think that the minute that they vote against it, Tiffany Henyard is going to do what she probably should do. See, I'm trying to give y'all a tax break, and they don't want y'all to have a tax break. But only someone who is looking 5 feet, literally 2 minutes down the road, would think this is a good idea. This is actually a terrible idea for the long-term economic stability of the township. That's kind of my thought. Let me hit these comments up real quick. Sorry, you see I got my screen different, so I'm looking on the wrong side over here. Shout out to you. Hey, no, you all good. You all good. I just jumped on because I was like, this board meeting about to happen. Let me go through this agenda before everything gets started. I appreciate you tuning in. What's good? What's good? I appreciate you, Brown Sugar, for tuning in. How can it be a fair vote if they are now down one trustee? Trustee Everett Gray votes with Tiff. So what would be the tiebreaker? Well, it's all going to depend on what their rules define as a quorum. You could technically be missing a trustee or a council member if It's just a matter of how do the rules define a quorum. If, for example, if a city council has 10 members, some places may define a quorum as being eight. Some places may define a quorum as being six. So it all depends on how they define a quorum. I didn't take a look into it indefinitely, or I didn't take a look into it because I just jumped on here. But it depends on what defines a quorum. As long as they have enough trustees to qualify as a quorum pursuant to their rules, I'm sure they got rules that state that what a quorum is, they'll be able to vote. If they don't have a quorum, all of this stuff will just be a bunch of arguing and talking. Mm. How will the township pay itself if the taxpayer ain't paying taxes? Hey, and, and you, my friend, exactly 100% correct. That's why that is a terrible idea. It was clearly put up there just as a political carrot, I think. Like, yo, I'm trying to save y'all money and they don't want to do it. But it's, I don't know. The only government has no money except what they take from you in taxes. That's the only money. Everybody be like, oh man, the federal government is going to issue us a stimulus check. Well, you already paid for that stimulus check. So, I agree with you 100%. That is a great comment. Yeah. Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you tuning in, Common Sense. I just got off the clock myself, so it's all good. I was like, I probably should have recorded this last night, but I was tired. So yeah, it's usually half plus one. Yep, yep. So same standard. Hey, I appreciate that comment. Thank you for a co-counsel jumped in. If it's half plus one and they down one, they'll probably be able to satisfy a quorum and still vote. And hopefully vote that one now. Property tax refund tried to influence voters. Hey, shout out to you. Everybody is on it. We all see it. We all see it. But if somebody told you you don't have to pay property taxes, real talk, we're gonna get through the rest of this agenda. But I had a conversation with someone and we were talking about property taxes. No, we were talking about the deductions you can claim for paying property taxes on your federal income tax, right? And someone said, "Oh man, I don't like this particular candidate because they lowered that deduction. So now you can't claim as much interest payments on your property and with your property taxes and everything." And I said, what value is that to you? Because my argument was, yo, you should probably focus on what the stock market return is. Last year it was about, right now I'm probably at about a 30% return on the stock market. And so I said, if somebody told me, this is just me, because I invest and I hope you all invest. If somebody told me you're going to get a 25% return in the market, but we'll lower the interest that you can claim that you pay towards your property, I wouldn't care about that because mathematically, one is more viable than the other. But when you tell someone up front you don't have to pay something, that's all they heard. That's all they hear. They don't think about the long-term effects. I agree with this comment. In the comments y'all been making. If people aren't paying property taxes, that's the number one way that a township creates revenue, is going to add to the already strained financial circumstances for years to come. So definitely just a political carrot to hold out in front of the voters, hoping that they aren't savvy. So I hope people see what's going on. Yeah. Let's see. How much is the alleged tax refund? That's a good question. I'm assuming, again, we're assuming that this relates to, hey, 100% tax refund so you don't have to pay property taxes. I don't know what property taxes the general going rate is. Somebody who's co-counsel, y'all let me know in the comments if y'all know offhand. But I mean, property taxes are like, I know for me, not paying property taxes would save me probably like $2,500 a year. Like, and so I'm gonna assume, I don't know what the value of the homes are in the Thornton Township. I'm assuming that they probably aren't as high as what they are in DC. So let's say if we were guesstimating, let's say people got a $100 to $1,500 refund of the taxes that they paid for the year. That's assuming that they, and I'm gonna be honest, like I don't know. I think that's making a lot of assumptions because not everybody is an actual property owner. Like, yeah, that'll be cool for the folks who own property, but what is your plan for the folks who are paying rents? Do they get any type of relief in any form of faction from the government? So I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about and to describe. Let's see. Uh, yeah, yeah. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. I agree. Hey, that is the consensus common sense. We all think is a finesse to try to get unsavvy voters on our side. I don't think it's gonna fly. I'm glad everybody is doing well. Let's go ahead and jump back in real quick to the rest of the agenda items. We're gonna recap the first few. See, I got this thing all. I don't got my normal setup here, so again, we're looking at the new business. Number one was adoption, a motion for Thornton Township to adopt the Roberts Rule of Orders. Robert, for all the new people in the chat, Roberts Rule of Orders is essentially just a book that an author, a book that an individual wrote that outlines processes for municipalities, organizations to follow to create structure. I think this shows what I've always suspected is that they don't have their processes and their rules and regulations written in a way that are very defined in detail. So they probably should pass this. I'm pretty sure this was probably tossed up by the trustees because they realized they were lacking with regard to their rules. So number one, probably going to get passed. Robert Rules of Order because looks like they need it. Number two, three, and four, health insurance plan, dental insurance plan, life insurance plan, structure for employee deductions from insurance premiums and employee assistance programs. Probably all will get approved unless it's some fiscal carrot that just makes absolutely no sense for the voters and the employees. But generally, one through four are going to be approved easy. Five is where the shit show is going to begin with the 100% tax refund for all homeowners, not giving a damn about renters. And that's the point that the trustees should bring up. What percentage of the population in the township are homeowners versus renters? What about those renters? This isn't fair because I mean, like, that's the point they should bring up because it's a stupid ass thing to even propose. But she's gonna say, "Yo, y'all not supporting the citizens, the homeowners, because y'all don't want them to get this money. I'm trying to give y'all money." But that's one of the points they should bring up. Not to mention that economically is going to kick the township in the nuts for years to come. Six, approval of bonuses for all Thornton Township employees. Now, this one is interesting, okay? We got to talk about this one real quick. Approval of bonuses for all township employees. Um, I don't know how I feel about that one, okay? Generally, I don't know how I feel about that one, okay? Politically, I would probably say, hey, if it's like an election year and trustee seats are on the lines, you would probably vote yes. Okay, it is what it is. It's like I see Joe Biden propose in his budget proposal. He proposed like a 2.1% raise for the federal government, and I was like, oh man! And this was before he dropped out of the race. I was like, yeah, this dude. I mean, he wouldn't have won anyway, but I was like, he really don't want to win. Yeah, yeah. Last year in the election year, you got to be like, no, I'm proposing a 5.7% raise because of inflation. So bonuses for all Thornton Township employees. In light of who the township supervisor is, in light of all the issues with the budget and the money, I think generally this is probably something that should be voted against. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think this should be voted yay or nay to this one? I think generally it probably should be voted against. However, if seats are up for grabs when it comes to the trustees and the supervisors, I'm going to go ahead and vote yes if seats are up for grab. If no seats are up for grab within the next 12 months, I would leave it alone. I'd be like, no, we don't have the fiscal ability to do this in light of our current economic situation because of them. That's the actual smart argument that's in the best interest of the people moving forward. But if seats are on the line, because whoever votes no for no bonuses for the trustee employees is going to kind of look really, really bad. So, but that's how I would approach it. If there are no seats on the line in the next 12 months, I'll be like, you know what? Let's go ahead, shoot it down now, and then we can come back and I'll propose something a little bit later on. That's what I would do. But if seats on the line, I feel like you got to vote for it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that one. That one is going to be pretty tough though. Average of 8 to 12%. That's a lot of money. 8 to 12%. That could be big. Robert rule was never adopted. I'm amazed since it's the basis of most municipality and the board of directors to ensure consistency and fairness. I agree. Bonuses should be set to the max limit based on a fiscal year and performance conditions. Yeah, that is 100% true common sense. The problem is people don't know how to fairly evaluate employees. Prime example, I worked at a place and the highest rating that you could get would be like a five, like a 1 through 5. And even people who were trash, like literally, like, trust me, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there were people who were clearly not cutting the mustard who have been there for years. Underneath my regime, is one thing you got to do is your job. I'm not saying you always got to do A level work, but I shouldn't have to circle back as an attorney to do the job of like my admin assistant. That's absolutely why am I looking at travel? Because you can't do a basic mathematic computation. Fuck no. That's not happening. So when your boy got in charge, I had to make some cuts immediately. But when I looked at performance reviews for people who clearly everybody was getting 4s and 5s, but the comments related to those ratings didn't describe them as a 4 or 5. But because everybody got 4 or 5s, they automatically got whatever bonus or bonus they may have got, whether it was time off or cash. So I do agree that generally bonuses should be established during the beginning of the fiscal year for that fiscal year. And there should be some, I mean, like with organizational goals, personal goals you have to hit to achieve it. But when it comes to government work, people aren't that. Everybody is getting 5s. The people who getting 3s are upset. Because really, if you go to work, if you look at most rating scales on a 1 to 5, a person who goes to work, does their job, and does average at their job is like a 3. Like you go to your job, you never go above and beyond, but you get your job done as a 3. If you occasionally go above and beyond, that's like a 4. But people don't. They just say, "Yo, I'm gonna give everybody a 5 because I don't want nobody filing no complaints against me." The shit get real crazy, in my personal opinion. Could this whole organization be disbanded? And each of the 17 villages just do themselves what the township is doing because they're so corrupt. I don't know. I actually had this conversation with someone who is from the area, and one of the things that they actually were talking about, and they said was a point of discussion, was essentially kind of like dissolving like some of those smaller cities and just encompassing them into a larger city. But I don't know if that's actually a pliable thing. What's going on, Yolanda? I appreciate you tuning in. Hey, shout out to Texas. Shout out to Texas. Now shout out to the Cowboys, but shout out to the Texans. Yeah, and so because they got staggered, they gotta vote yes. And that's how most of it is. Most times there's on and off years. If these trustee seats are staggered, as common sense said, as co-counsel said, I would probably have to vote yes for the bonuses. Like, I got to vote yes for the bonuses. Just as a matter, I don't want to be the one who I don't want to be the one who don't want. Like, I don't know. Like when it comes to people money, you got to be really, really careful. The 100% refund of taxes for homeowners, that's a little goofy. But when it comes to bonuses, uh, I don't know. Like, yeah, I would probably. I think the smart thing to do would probably say not at this time, but I think the more strategical thing to do would probably be let's just go ahead and approve the bonuses. And I'm sure by approving the bonuses, it's a little bit of gamesmanship because you know who's gonna get bonuses? Probably all of them. Nobody, I don't know. Thornton board, they might be in some instances deserving of a bonus. I don't know. That's arguable. That's up for debate. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense that since they are in the red by 3.5 million. I 100% agree. And I think that's the smart approach. But Bonuses. You talk about nominated seats, votes. It's a sticky situation. That's gonna be interesting to see which way that plan pays out. But you're 100% right. Fiscally is the worst thing that you could possibly probably do. Yeah. How can they vote on bonuses without an actual budget? Um, Good point. Fair point. One of the things that was previously noted as old business was the approval of the budget. So I'm not sure how they're going to manipulate that because I'm going to be honest, I don't know all the nuanced details of it. But before they got to these new agenda items, like the old agenda item that's in the agenda was to actually address the actual budget. I don't even know if it'll get approved. Probably won't, but that was in the older participation trophy. I agree, but like it's so much gamesmanship. I remember I worked at a place and they had such a pay disparity because whoever was in charge of the organization, they didn't set the pay up in a way to make it worthwhile to actually be someone in a leadership role or middle management position. So what you would have is someone in middle management and their subordinate maybe makes $5,000 less. It made no sense. So this organization did an entire restructure because the general rule is if you're a supervisor, at a minimum, you got to make at least 10% more than the person you're supervising. So because of that, they did this entire pay restructure. So what that means, it means a lot of middle level management got raises, even though it wasn't based on performance. It was just based on trying to, pay compression issues and things like that. And I can remember when I went around passing out those memos, I was like, "Hey, this bonus isn't based on performance. It's just remember this bonus you get isn't based on performance." So hey, sometimes there are some participation bonuses that go out. Okay, that's a good point. Good point. Thanks for that. That's a good point. Yeah, yeah, and I don't know because yeah, you can. We only know that you're 100% correct. Shout out to you, co-counsel. You're 100% correct with that. Very little information with regard to the overall township's financial status. And to to be fair, I personally think you all let me know your thoughts. I personally think that it is a much more difficult task to actually blow up the budget of the township uh, in your role. Excuse me, in your role as a supervisor than it is blowing up the budget of the village in your role as mayor. So let's go ahead and jump back into this agenda items. All right, let's see. Where were we at? Where were we at? All right, so new business, yes to one to Robert's rules, yes to two, three, and four. Healthcare, employee deductions for insurance, employee assistance program. No to five, and that's where the bullshit gonna start. Start the approval of the supervisor's 100% tax refund for all homeowners. Bonuses, if they have a quorum, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I don't know. Is up for debate. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not confident. Okay. Uh, Number seven: approval to purchase an aerator for lawn maintenance at the Thornton Township buildings. I mean, as I don't think that's that big of a deal. They calling doing production. What's up? I'm on a live. What's good? Yeah, that's why I took it out. It's in the refrigerator. I took that out before I took the rest of the stuff out. Okay. I don't know. I ain't never cooked Brussels sprouts. That's not this family will say read the instructions. Get off my phone. Bye. This crazy. All right. Where was that? Where was that? Okay. All right. Aerator for lawn maintenance. I mean, yes, you can't have the just because you got a shit show going on. If the inside of your house look like shit, that doesn't mean the outside have to. So that's probably going to be a yes. Aerator for that's aerator. Just get that soil nice and loose so they can plant the seeds and all of that stuff. All right. Uh, Interesting one. Number 8, approval of forensic audit proposal submitted by E. Bailey. Now, I think everybody is going to vote yes to this. I think the board will vote yes to this. Forensic audits are always good. We always talk about forensic audits. Those are something that are actually needed. So I think the forensic audit should be a yes. Aerator for the lawn, yes. Forensic audit should be a yes. I think the only person who probably wouldn't be happy about a forensic audit would probably be the township supervisor. But I think generally, yeah, I know. Hey, I'm an attorney. I'm a former inspector general guy. I like audits. I like audits. I like knowing where things are. I like knowing how things are used. That's the only way to identify deficiencies is by having an audit where you can find those opportunities for improvement. So, hey, that should pass with flying colors. Let's see what else do we have here. We have all right. Consideration of an ordinance related to employee. This is crazy. This goes back to number 1. Number 9. Consideration of an ordinance related to employee termination procedures and creating an employee termination appeal process for Thornton Township, Cook County, Illinois. How do you not have that? Like, I don't know. Like maybe I'm a little bit biased. I mean, I've been practicing law for a while, so your boy up there. So maybe I'm a little bit biased. But how is this something that you are just now creating and putting on the table to create on October 22nd, 2024, when the township been around forever? So I mean, because that's just opened the door for litigation. There's no kind of due process. I'm a township employee. I get fired for a reason that I think is bullcrap. Y'all have no administrative appeal rights for due process for it to get challenged. The only option I got fired. I can't appeal anything. I just got to sue your ass. Like this goes back to number 1, why they clearly need to adopt Robert rules, because there's a little bit of ineptitude with regard to the processes and policies. Like having an appeal right for employees who are terminated is like, if you have the right to terminate an employee, the very next thing that should come to your mind is they should have some method to appeal it within a 90 or 120-day time period where there's some, I don't know. It has to be some due process. So I think that should get approved. If that doesn't get approved, that would be absolutely insane, in my opinion. Let's see. Okay, hey, shout out to you. See, I'm not a big swine guy. Like I eat everything. I don't deprive myself of nothing because I think that's disrespectful to God. But like, I mostly is most times it's turkey and seafood. But then a couple times a month, hey, if I want some pork ribs, I'm gonna make them. So a couple times a month I do pork ribs. Then a couple times a month I'll do like a red meat, like a steak or something like that. So I got like 4 or 5 days out of the month where I get wild with it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Brussels sprouts guy, and I do like 97% of the cooking. I like cooking. I'm just not a hey, when I come home, tie, jacket, all over the place. But yeah, cooking, that's my forte. But shout out for the opinion. And I can't do that because hey, the people in the household, everybody don't eat swine, so it would just be too ridiculous. You got to cook two different kinds. You got to cook the one with swine and the one without swine. I'm not doing all of that. Why is it that the audit is coming up again when they voted on the last meeting? I'm not sure. They got it on there as a new agenda. I'm all for audits. I think audits should be the law. And audits should be performed at the end of each mayoral term, regardless of re-election, to ensure the budgetary needs of coffers are kept in check. I agree with that 100%. Common sense. Common sense, you should be like either a political strategist or like a chief of staff or something. Like you would thrive in that role. You would thrive in that role because you always got good ideas. 11, manager of super service for the whole family is grifted off of the township. Number 11. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back in. Let's see. Let's get the proper screen up. I got this thing formatted so terribly. All right. So 9, yes, should get approved. You got to have a method so employees can appeal their termination to make sure you comply with due process, and it'll greatly reduce litigation. I mean, like it'll reduce the amount of lawsuits, and everybody in the township and the village can always use less lawsuits. All right, number 10, motion to require quarterly litigation updates from attorneys handling litigation cases for the township. Do y'all think that's a good idea? Yes or no? Let me know. Let me know what y'all thoughts are. Do y'all think that's a good idea? Yes or no? Gerald, what's good? What's good? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think that tell me the purpose of identification? All right, we'll give it updates on litigation. I'm generally not a fan on updates of litigation because what do you mean as an update to a litigation? I just don't see the benefit of it. It makes an issue when it comes to attorney-client privilege. If I'm an attorney, I'm representing the township, and as the litigation is developing, they want me to come up there every quarter and provide an update to the litigation. And some of the persons who are opposing litigants in the case could be sitting in the audience. Like, what type of update do you really want me to give in this public forum to pending litigation? I'm just not a fan of that. I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, I think it's a bad idea. I actually think it's a terrible idea. Updates to litigations, updates to current litigations regarding the attorney and the client, the trustees, the Thornton Township. I'm just not a fan. Y'all let me know what y'all think, but my is giving me cause to pause with the attorney. Yeah, I don't like giving updates quarterly to pending litigation to persons who probably shouldn't be privy to some of the things that may be important. And if I did give an update, it's going to be generic as hell. Updating the litigation is currently ongoing. We are in the process of discovery, and any further updates, you can go look at the local clerk of courts to see the public documents and pleadings that have been filed. That's the update. That I think I don't know. Like I don't know. Whoever put that idea in was like a non-attorney because providing an update to my client in a public forum is probably something that I would frown upon doing. People are going to leave doing the supervisor report because of the gaslighting and closed session after that, and the public comment is the last one on purpose because Henya doesn't want to answer questions. Good point. Good point. Let me see. Let me go back to this. Let's jump back into this document. Hmm. All right. Number 11. Number 11. Again, this is a good one. Discussion and possible actions to retain an independent investigator and or forensic auditor to investigate the township special services department, including its funding, expenditures, contracts, contractors, staff, employees, and management of its finances. Everybody gonna agree to that one except probably the supervisor. Um, I mean, that's just a good idea. Common sense hit it on the head. It should be done with some regularity every 4 years, every 3 years, every 5 years. But it should be done. The only thing that strikes me as an issue here is the nature of politics in the township and in the village. Even though this is a township thing, but it applies to both. It's I have questions on if they can really find and identify an independent third party because every side is going to argue that that's what I would argue. I mean, like, you want, I don't know, it's going to be difficult because you want an independent audit and everyone's going to challenge the objectivity of the person who's acting as the investigative entity. Normally is like a law firm or some, one of those big ass consultant firms or something like that. I don't know. I think it's going to be a problem to find someone who's really objective and going to call it down the middle, but it is actually a good idea. Supervisor report, yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. But those are essentially all of the those essentially are all of the things that are coming up on the new agenda items. I did my duties both as secretary and sergeant at arms for the average civic 501c club and being accustomed to keeping things organized for the group. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, you did your A. Well done, soldier. Salute to you for doing your service. I, she answers questions, the one that benefits her. I seriously doubt that they will get through the agenda. Yeah. I saw a video. It was about it was like another. It was I don't know. It was some ratchet. It was some hood place where they had like a city council meeting, and somebody pulled the gun out in that bitch. Well, my language, but I was like, man. As soon as I saw somebody pull the gun out, I was like, Thornton Township, Village of Thornton, but it was some other place. And I feel like we like maybe this is me, but I feel like some of these things is like a hop, skip, and a step away from some real actual crazy shit happening. It appears the language was expanded to include vendors and contractors and not just supervisor boards and employees. Yep, and that is a good point. And no stone should be left unturned when you are doing a financial audit. It's the only way to figure out what's going on, who's doing things right, who's doing things wrong, and how can we improve to make sure that our money is being used in a manner most effective to the taxpayer. Possibly because they feel Tiffany did that take bids and want to see what exactly was awarded to non-compete contractors. That's always where the biggest fraud is. They have handed out. I've seen city council members give not no bid contracts to family members who like literally are like first cousins with the same name. Like, I'm like, man, y'all didn't even try to make it look a little objective. Yeah, it's going to be drama because Tiffany boyfriend figurehead job is being questioned. It's gonna be interesting tonight. I know everybody going to tune in. I will recap it at a later date. I'm probably going to just as a channel note. I'm probably going to select specific days where I go live. Where on those days I'll always go live, but if something comes up outside of those days, I may jump on because I used to have specific days back in the past. But then as the channel pivoted from being more finance content to attorney reaction content, uh, sometimes the shit just happen and it'll happen on a random day and I'm like, oh, I got time to talk about it now. But I'm thinking I'll put the days up. I kind of always like Fridays personally. Y'all know me. I like late night Fridays because that's when I'm least busy. But I tend to like the after 9 p.m. hours, grown folks time. So but I'll figure it out. What I'll do is probably look at the data to see when most people are online, and then I might put a poll question out to see what days work for most people as well, and then we'll figure out something from there. As always, yo, I appreciate everybody. Y'all see, hey, the boss gave me a call. Look like I got to get down in the kitchen and get the vittles started. Get the vittles started. But I appreciate everybody. Let me get this last comment real quick before we go in. The trustees voted for the audit in the past. However, during the most recent meeting, they reported difficulties in locating an independent third party. See, hey, shout out to you, AP. Hey, y'all co-counsel, y'all be on it, man. Y'all co-counsel be on it. Shout out to you. I knew that was going to be the issue. I just knew that was going to be the issue because it's just a drama-based thing. If the trustees find somebody, the supervisor is going to challenge it. If the supervisor finds a firm to do it, the trustees are going to challenge it. Like real talk, you know what I would do? It would probably cost a little bit more money, but I would actually try to get a firm that doesn't have any ties or nexus in the entire state of Illinois. I would go to I mean, you can go but I would so you can get a firm that's in Illinois because a lot of these firms are nationals. They have offices all over. But I think that would be probably a good way to do it. If they could find a firm that doesn't have any real ties, like, hey, we got an independent firm who don't operate in this particular state, but they operate up and down the East Coast and they are skilled and have experience in doing these type of financial audits. That's probably going to be the only thing that you could probably get both sides to agree to. I mean, because nobody going to want to give up anything. Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat who tuned in for this impromptu live. Um, I don't know about the bonuses. Like, I don't know about the bonuses. We're gonna see if they get to that, how it's voted on. I'm gonna say yes, but I'm not feeling too confident about it. Yo, y'all take care. Have a blessed one. Be safe. Enjoy y'all evening. Y'all get home from work, get home safe, relax. Peace.